Hello and welcome back to Story Stash. I'm your host Duncan, and these are some of my stories I've written. Today I'm reading from my book Star Guardian, and this is chapter 18. So, let's get started. Chapter 18. What next? I awoke several hours later. This time no one had disturbed my sleep or woke me up prematurely. Ship hadn't alerted us with any news. I wasn't alone. Kaluna and Jem were still asleep. I hoped I was back in their good books by now. They looked so peaceful. My mind drifted back to a few hours ago when we faced extinction by 3 enemy vessels. We prevailed and the foe didn't. But how many more enemy vessels would turn up intent on wiping us out? I hadn't had many quiet mornings to myself. We were frequently rushing here or there, being chased or chasing others. Fighting for survival consumed much of my waking moments. Perhaps, once this thing was over, I could visit somewhere secluded to meditate alone. Something I missed from Tien Prime was I had lots of time to myself. I did my visit to the ensuite and approached the food dispenser to get a beverage. On a whim, I asked the food dispenser, "Display a list of beverages commonly consumed on Earth in the morning." I selected café au lait. It tasted different, but as I sat at the table and sipped the mug of brown liquid, it kind of grew on me. I wondered if this was something my mother ever consumed. I could feel a mild stimulant effect of the beverage. The other effect was the odor disturbed Kaluna and Jem. Soon, everyone was up and both were sampling my beverage. I soon realized my one mug wouldn't be enough, so I walked over to the food dispenser and got 2 more mugs of the beverage. This was another new experience. I was adapting to sharing food and beverages. On Tien Prime, you kept to yourself. Finally, Jem was awake enough. Ship status report. No new vessels have arrived in the system. The probe has arrived at the derelict vessels and is examining the wreckage and collecting items of value, said Ship. Thank you, Ship. Brian, Kaluna, what's next? She asked. I held back a bit. I'd been going first a lot recently. After a while, Kaluna spoke. What is your final goal? We came here to visit your home world, and you have seen it. Your people are gone. It's a hostile place, and now we're hiding behind a moon. What do you want to achieve? Originally, I was hoping for a homecoming, to meet with other Baglaji. An injustice was done to my people long ago. I'd like to punish the foe for what they did, and I want to stop them from doing it to others, Jem answered. Was destroying those 3 vessels enough punishment? Asked Kaluna. No. The foe that wiped out the Baglaji died a long time ago. The crews aboard those vessels were probably their descendants. They didn't kill your ancestors. I admit they came here with hostile intent, and we defended ourselves. But can we justify genocide of another spacefaring race? Won't that make us as bad as them? Kaluna was asking some tough questions. I was glad I hadn't jumped in. I was thinking about simpler things like survival and breakfast. Jem was looking at me for input. I'm not clear on the ethics here. I'm better at coming up with ways how to do something, I answered. We took out the pirates together. Jem was getting worked up. Are they pirates? I asked. Because if they're pirates, then the answer is clear. Perhaps the probe will find some answers that will help clarify things. We don't know how many foe vessels there are, Kaluna offered. We took out 3 vessels. If there's only 3 more, we have a chance. If there's another 3,000 vessels, we've no chance. I think we need to prepare carefully. How about we finish breakfast and continue this in the main bridge? I offered. Jem shrugged her agreement. We finished breakfast, got ready, and made our way to the main bridge. I looked at the tactical display and I had an idea. "Captain, may I?" I asked as I pointed to the display. "Be my guest," said Jem. "Ship, please highlight the line from the derelict vessels to where they entered the system. Now extrapolate that line out. If they came in a straight course, this could point to their home system," I said. The display zoomed out until this system was tiny. Adjacent systems appeared at the edges. "Along that line, can you locate any inhabited or inhabitable systems?" I asked Ship. "Confirmed. The line travels close to an inhabitable system about 4 days at hyperdrive," said Ship. "Great. Now, Ship, tell me, you can make another probe equipped with hyperdrive and cloak?" I asked. "Confirmed. There's enough raw material to fabricate the probe. If we need more probes than existing capacity, I can gather raw materials from within the system," replied Ship. I smiled. "I'd like you to create and deploy a probe to the extreme edge of that system and have it gather intel, then return to us. This part is like the pirate system. We need intel to base our decisions on," I said. "Confirmed. Probe will be complete and deployed in 2 hours," replied Ship. I turned to Jem. "Captain, the data from their system, together with what we have learned from the derelict vessels, should be enough to give us a better picture of our opponent. Then you can make informed decisions." "Thank you, Commander." She smiled at me. Oh gosh, her smile made me feel so much better than earlier. "Captain, I hope Ship can salvage defensive and offensive capabilities we can use. We only have the nanobots, and we got lucky so far. If we can learn the strengths and vulnerabilities of the foe vessels, we can develop countermeasures. If you want to keep this system, we need to build a more permanent system defense. We can automate it, so our presence isn't required. This will take time, probably not enough time. The foe will send more vessels to find their 3 missing ones. We might use the nanobots one more time, but we need more options," I said. "Yes, Ship, what can you tell me about those vessels?" asked Jem. "My initial examination shows their vessels are about 47% larger and equipped with similar propulsion systems. Their armaments and shields are more powerful than the Baglaji ones. Some of their systems have a lot in common with Baglaji technology. Navigation, sensors, and communication systems are like ours. These vessels don't have cloaking technology," said Ship. "Thank you, Ship," said Jem. "Brian, what do you think?" "We did well to hide from them. Head on, just one vessel could destroy Ship. With 3, they could flank us, and defeat would be a certainty. I'm surprised by the lack of cloaking technology. That might explain why they didn't see the cloaked probes deploy the nanobots," I said. "Can I share some thoughts?" asked Kaluna. "Please do, Kaluna," said Jem. "Ship, I know your data may be out of date, but what data do you have about the system where the foe appear to originate from?" asked Kaluna. "This was an inhabited system when I left Baglaji. It was a pre-interstellar species. They hadn't made first contact," replied Ship. "So, this species became spacefaring, and I will assume the Baglaji contacted. Within a period of about 1,000 years, they grew until they wiped out the more advanced Baglaji race," said Kaluna. "That fits the data," said Jem. "When one spacefaring race takes out another, wouldn't you consider that a war? The foe defeated and eliminated the Baglaji. That happened about 1,000 years ago. That war is long over, and possibly Ship is the only remaining Baglaji vessel, and you're the only remaining member of the Baglaji race," said Kaluna. "Yes, I may be the last," Jem said sadly. "So, if they won the war, this system should be foe territory, spoils of war. Yet they left it unpopulated, with only that nasty little trap to report on any straggler Baglaji vessel that turned up later, Kaluna said. Perhaps they don't feel like expanding out here. Something about the conditions on the planet not being to their liking, I asked Kaluna. Kaluna nodded. Perhaps their species has specific needs and this system isn't compatible, she said. I think you're onto something, Kaluna, Jem said. They might need a certain atmosphere or specific climate conditions. Not all races have the ability for terraforming or adapting, and they have only been spacefaring for about 1,000 years, Jem said. Can I share an observation? I asked, looking at both. Please do, replied Jem. Please understand, on TN Prime, thinking is a solitary practice. You keep it to yourself. Display of emotion never happens. Since we joined you, we did a lot of thinking together and talking and sharing our thoughts and emotions. It was our working together that led to our being cautious about the extra node and the changes we made to ship. Those changes saved our lives. If this was a Tian vessel, we'd already be dead, I said. We sat and thought about that. Well, that's the end of chapter 18. And next episode we'll have chapter 19, More Foe? So, hope to see you then. Goodbye.